Okay, folks, look, I'm conscious of the time, so I'll try and keep this pretty quick. Can I just have a quick hands up of how many of you are planning to actually sell at this year's ScaleACT in the swap and sell? Okay, so you're the people that need to pay attention. And I'll get started straight away. Okay, look, this is just a quick overview of the process. In many ways, it's not dissimilar from the old process, if you're familiar with that, where you filled out a seller sheet and we kept a copy of that in the swap and sell. But the process now requires you to download a new seller sheet template that we've developed, and you do that from the ScaleACT website. I'll show you that shortly. You have to rename that sheet with a name that includes your name, and that's merely so that I can identify easily who it's for. You then have to fill out that template with some personal and banking information and your inventory of items. This will be horribly familiar to you, Stephen, because it's virtually the same system that's used by CanCon, if you're familiar with their swap and sell system. You then email your completed seller sheet to the email address that's there. We upload your sheet into a piece of software that will generate a formatted barcoded label file that I will return to you. That's in a PDF form. You then print your label file and attach these barcoded labels to your items to sell. You then have to sell lots of stuff, and then you return. Usually most people return on the Sunday afternoon and collect their unsold items. You need to do that by no later than 4 p.m. on Sunday. When you come to see us to settle up, we'll provide you with a printed report of the items that have been sold, the commission that's payable on those items, so that's 5% for members and 10% for non-members, the amount that we owe you, and that will be provided to you by a transfer to your nominated bank account within 10 working days after the event. So, how do you find the seller sheet that you need to download? So you go to the ScaleACT 25 website, you go down until you see swap and sell. You'll find this page when you access that, that link, and then down the bottom of that page you can see download seller sheet. So you click on that link and it will bring you to this page here. There's a whole lot of information on the swap and sell page, but I'm just showing you where the link is. So you can see on the screen there the red bar. You may not be able to read the writing, but essentially that is the link that you click to download your seller sheet. When you download that document, this is what it will look like when you open it up. It's essentially an Excel spreadsheet with 3 tabs on it. The first tab is a set of instructions for you. The second tab is where you record your personal information, and the third tab is where you record your inventory. And those subsidiary pages look like this. So the personal information tab, you can see there it's asking for a number, and I'll explain that in a minute. Your first name, last name, email, your address, city, state, zip code, phone, bank account name, bank account BSB, and bank account number. That's merely for identification purposes. We do not upload your bank details to our consignment software. That's purely for access by us to enable us to make payment to you after the event. The most important system, I think, or thing to grasp about the new system is that number field. We need you to come up, and it's not a number, it's actually an alphabetic code. We want you to come up with a 6-letter alphabetic code that will be unique to you. most people use some sort of contraction of their name or something that's meaningful, but something that you think another user might not use. If in the event that we get two people who actually miraculously come up with the same 6-letter code, we'll have to ask the person who seconds the same code to invent a new one. But this will be the 6-letter prefix that sits in front of the item number for each of your items. So my 6-letter code is Ray DCB, and each of my items will be numbered Ray DCB something or other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So you need to invent that, decide what it is, and enter it in that number field. All of this is explained in that first tab in the instructions, so you don't have to write it down, you don't have to remember it. I'm just trying to run through it so that you get an idea of what the process is. This is the inventory tab. So you enter what's called the SKU. Now that stands for, it's just retail jargon for standard, got it written here somewhere. Stock keeping unit, that's it, stock keeping unit. And we've retained those labels because that's what our software uses. So it just makes it easier for it to read that information when it's uploading. But for you, it's really the old item number. So that's your 6-letter code plus a number. And it can be, you know, any number you like. And there's 999 rows there. So if you feel you're going to sell more than 1,000 items, let me know, and I'll make some provision for you, but nobody's done it yet. Brand is simply how you want to describe the item. So, you know, if it's a monogram kit or something like that, you put that in there. If you're selling a book, you might put the title of the book. You know, whatever you want to use to describe it. It's merely for your identification more than anything else, because the key identifier in this process is the barcode. And that's what we'll be scanning to determine what the item is. The next field there is size. We just added that so that you could put in a scale, or, you know, whatever you want to, however you want to describe the item. So if it's 1/35, you might put 1/35. That's a free text field. You can put 1:35 or 1/35 or 35th or whatever you want to do. Or you could write book if it's a book, or, you know, decal if it's a decal, or whatever it might be. And then the description field is a free text field. You can describe it in whatever way you want. Don't feel that you have to describe everything about the item in that field. If there are condition issues about the item that you're selling, you can attach a separate sticker or label or whatever you want to do that says, you know, part constructed or 3 bits missing or whatever it might be. So it's really, again, just an identifier that makes it handy for us when we're scanning the item to understand that it's the actual item it belongs to. Tag price is just lingo in our software system for the price you want to sell it at. The only sort of things that we ask in that is just put the dollar number or dollar and cents if you want to sell it for $1.50 or $5.50 or whatever. Don't put any dollar signs or anything like that into the item. It needs to be a number that the system will read. And as I said, all of this is in the instructions, but that's one thing that a couple of people have missed, or they've felt the need to format it as a dollar field. What you'll find when you try and enter stuff in this is that parts of the spreadsheet are protected. So the only bit that you can enter into, you will see there's nothing to the right of that. It's all greyed out. There are actually columns there. There are fields that will be auto-populated by what you enter in that we need for our software that you don't need to know about. But that's why there is protection on the spreadsheet, just to preserve the integrity of our template so that when we go to upload it, that it will work properly for us. So that's the template itself. What I will return to you is a label file that's in PDF format that will look exactly like that, or something like that, obviously not those items. And that label file has been formatted to conform to this size of label sheet. It provides for 33 labels in 3 columns by 11 rows. Sorry, 3 columns by 11 rows. Yeah, so that's 33. So you get 33 labels to each page. Tonight, if you want to grab some freebies from me and you've got a rough idea of how many items you think you want to sell, as a bit of an incentive to use the new system, we're giving these away this year. In future years, you can either buy them yourself or we'll probably buy a pack and sell them for 50 cents or $1 a sheet or whatever like that, because you can only buy them in, this is a pack of 100 sheets for about $50. There is an Avery product that equates to this that is exactly the same size. So it's more expensive, but if you find the Avery product and you can't find this is it Officeworks proprietary product, and you can use it. Beware of other 33 size label files that you might be able to find from other sources. Len happened to identify one that was on eBay that's a bit cheaper than these, but the labels are a different size. I don't know how you fit 33 different labels on an A4 sheet that are bigger than these, but somehow you can do it. But if you try and print our file onto a differently sized label sheet, it won't work. You'll find the labels will drift right or left or up or down, and so when you get to the bottom or the right of the page, you'll find that where the cuts are in the labels won't work. It's not essential that you use these. If you want to print them onto plain paper and cut them out with a pair of scissors and stick them on your items with sticky tape, that's fine too. As long as we can scan the barcode, that's all that matters. Elaine? Yes, yes it will. It'll work through plastic, it'll work through sticky tape, so that's not a problem. But this is the neatest and easiest way to do it, and I would recommend you use it, but you're not required to use it. Come and see me afterwards if you want to grab a freebie. And that's the system in a nutshell.
I'll just reiterate what Ray said. This is a very easy system to use. A huge benefit of it is the accuracy that it offers everyone. It's really spot on. From my experience last several years at CanCon, though, the one deadly trap is you'll always have somebody turn up with several large boxes on a trolley, and they'll front up to the team with a illegibly scrawled handwritten sheet. Don't do that, because you'll get sent home with all your boxes intact.
Yeah, you won't be selling anything this year if you turn up and you haven't done what we need you to do. We just can't accommodate running two parallel systems. If somebody turns up and they've got a small handful of items, it might be feasible for them to go away, download the template, upload it. We can probably process it on the day, you know, etc., etc. But we're not advertising that, and we don't promote it, and we would like people to buy into this new system. Ben. The cutoff is, I think we've set 5 p.m. on the Thursday before ScaleACT. The reason we've set that deadline is obviously to give us time to turn around any files that are sent to us on the Thursday before Friday, because Friday's a busy day for us. It also will give us an opportunity, because I think our next meeting is the day before that. So we'll obviously be reminding people that if they haven't done it by then, they need to extract this digit and get on with it pretty quick smart. But there will still be time for them to do something about it if they haven't. Yes. From a volunteer's perspective, what do you expect, or what do you want the volunteers to do? Collect the money, scan it, I might leave that for Len to sort of respond to.
Yeah, so that's in the email that I sent out about volunteering. What's required basically for each of the positions. I've put in there that the swap and sell is a bit of a
funny creature this year because we're introducing this system. That's all right. I like this. Okay. Because we're introducing this system, and there's a bit of training required first off. So basically, it's going to be what we've called the core team, which you'll probably all realise is me, Ray, Tony, and Elaine, and Mark Francis, who did a lot of work to develop the software. So the 5 of us will probably do the lion's share of work for that crazy Saturday morning, but we're happy to have, especially folks that have worked swap and sell previously, so know what the gist of it is. We're going to try and train people up on the weekend. It's not that hard. I had a go at it blind for the club swap and sell that we had at Holt, and I picked it up very quickly. It's you know, obviously the scanner is the scanner. You just push the button, it scans the code. Most of it comes up. You just have to know, click on that. It'll give you the price. Here's how much you have to get from the punter. Square's a little bit different. Elaine will be running with the Square. She's doing some Square training because across the club, we're adopting Square as a payment method for quite a lot of things, if not just about everything. So we're on board with that, which is why we've had to move away from the cash settlement system, because I'm expecting that most of the punters will probably just pay by card, even though that will cost them the nominal card fee that they get stung everywhere else. So short answer is yes, there is a bit of extra work. It won't take you long, but as I said, because it's a new system and we want to make sure that we can work it first, there won't be a lot of spare slots on the Saturday, but probably more on Sunday. So again, with my rostering hat on, if you want to be part of that, then let me know.
Well, certainly, there's the opportunity too, if anybody wants to learn how we operate the new system, to just sit down beside us and watch how we do it. I mean, it's not complicated, but as a risk management approach, we're just sort of trying to make sure that we've got as few untrained people working as possible, particularly in that first Saturday morning frenzy. But to answer your question in slightly more detail, we're planning to run 2 scanning stations and 1 cashier. So there'll be 2 people with barcodes and PCs scanning the items. The obligation on the scanner is to just do a quick check that when they scan the item, that what Consign Cloud tells you that item is actually the item that the person's got. That's to guard against label substitution, which probably is hard if it's a sticker on a kit, but I've got some books which are expensive. I've put the barcode label onto a post-it note on the book. Somebody could try and switch the post-it notes, and we've had that sort of thing happening in the past as well. So the obligation on the scanning station is to make sure that what they scan is what's being purchased, and then the system will tally up the number of items that each buyer has bought and what that comes to as a total. We'll be writing that on a chit that then is passed to the cashier, and that's the amount of money that that person has to pay. That's the system we're going to run this year. Nick, yeah.
Helpful comment. Because I've worked with barcodes my life. When you put them on, boys and girls, make sure they're nice and flat.
Yeah.
So you're just sticking them on, don't crease them like folded. You remember, you get to check out sometimes the girls or the boys' buttons have got strips of the label, so it's nice and clear.
Look, very good advice. There's a fallback. We can always look the item up in our system, and if we can't read the barcode, and record it as sold, even if that's a problem. But I'm not anticipating too many difficulties. The barcode scanners that we've acquired seem to be pretty flexible and versatile, I suppose, Peter, is the way I would describe them. And they can certainly sort of do pretty well, even if it's not perfect. But we'll see on the day. I might just ask Steve Panelides to briefly give a testimonial, I suppose, because he's been one of the early bird users, and this is unsolicited from me, but he can tell you how he found using the new system.
I found it really easy. And the thing is, I actually sold a couple of kits before the day, which meant I had to deal with making the changes, and it's really easy to fix it up. So anyway, yeah, if you want to come have a look at, it's very close. If you want to come have a look at my stickers, they're pretty good. So please feel free to come to me.
Look, there's just one last thing that occurs to me, and I mentioned that the file is developed in Excel. I acknowledge that everybody doesn't have Microsoft 365 or the equivalent in Mac as a subscription. So there are freeware spreadsheeting packages like Google Sheets. Yeah, it should read those. One person has had difficulty reading it in a particular freeware package, and the problem that they ran into is when they saved it in that particular package, that package thought that the entire document was protected and wouldn't let them enter any information into it. So if you're running into those sorts of difficulties, my advice to you is find someone who's got Excel and let them help you do it, or try one of the other freeware packages and see how you go that way.
Or call 1-800-PANELIDES. Yes. I don't know where you're going to go with that.
Are there any other questions? Clear as mud?
Clear as mud.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much.